Laura, I just sent you the paper agenda.
I'm hitting refresh as we speak.
And we are live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Arts Council, Arts Commission meeting for the City of East Lansing. It is Thursday, December 17th of 2020 and 5:30 p.m. I am waiting for one email to finish streaming through on my box, and then we will do roll call. For whatever reason, it's not coming through, so we'll go ahead and do it anyway. All right. Jesse Gregg.
I didn't know it was going to be first. I'm here.
Hi.
I'm virtually from East Lansing, Michigan.
Amazing. Karen Jennings.
I'm here virtually from East Lansing, Michigan, too.
Amazing. Abby Takake. One day I'll get it right.
Abby Taikaki calling in virtually from East Lansing, Michigan.
Megan Holland.
Megan Holland calling in from East Lansing, Michigan.
Wendy Sylvester Rowan.
Hi, this is Wendy Sylvester Rowan calling in from East Lansing, Michigan.
Austin Pabian.
Pabian. Yep.
There.
Austin Pabian calling in from East Lansing, Michigan.
Wonderful. Heather Mahano.
Heather Mahano calling in from Lansing, Michigan.
And I am Laura Scales calling in from East Lansing, Michigan. Unfortunately, Gabby and Matt let us know ahead of time that they would not be able to join us for this meeting. And I am, sorry, I don't know if I need to, we just need to do roll call. We don't need to say who else is missing, correct? Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Our second moment of the day is to approve the agenda for today's meeting, December 17th of 2020. Do I have, thank you for bringing that up, Liam. Does anyone have any questions on the agenda? Any comments or concerns?
I'd like to add a couple business items.
Okay.
2 proclamations.
Excellent. I can't second. Would anyone like to second the addition of proclamations?
Well, I can't first anything.
Oops, sorry. I second the additional business items.
Awesome. Anything else? Wonderful. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we accept the agenda as with additions.
Excellent. Does anyone second?
Abby Taikaki will second.
Sorry, that was Karen Jennings. Sorry, Jane.
Wonderful. We have approved our agenda. Now we can move on to reviewing the minutes for our November 19th of 2020 meeting.
I think we need to vote, don't we?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do we need to vote on a addition? Sure. All right, let's vote on an addition. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, vote on approving the agenda, correct?
Right.
Right, all in favor of the agenda with the additional proclamations added to the business items section. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, raise your hand. Any abstentions? All right, it is approved. Thank you.
Jesse is sewing and not
I know, I was like
against. Okay.
Jesse,
Just making sure.
No, I watched the needle and then I went back down. I was like, okay, we're good. Wonderful. Next, we'll move forward into approving the minutes from our meeting on the 19th of November.
I move to approve the minutes. Abby Taikaki.
Second, Megan Holland.
Wonderful. Thank you. Let us vote to approve the minutes. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. All opposed, say nay and raise your hands. Thank you. Any abstentions? Thank you. All right. So approved. All right. Communication from citizens. I don't know if we have any citizens in this meeting in our waiting room today?
We do not at the moment.
Excellent. So why don't we go ahead, and if someone pops in, will you let us know, and then we can vote to add another time to communicate with the citizens.
All right.
Wonderful. Written communications.
There.
There are none, and none have come in. Excellent. All right. Reports. So I will start. First of all, happy holidays to all who are celebrating, as we are in the midst of them. The most wonderful time of the year, and a little snow here in East Lansing, which has been so nice. And there are definitely some very happy children in our neighborhood who tried to make snowballs happen with all of their might. So I hope everyone is having a chance to wrap up and enjoy a little bit of a break at some point this December or early January. Thank you so much to Wendy Sylvester Rowan for running all of those meetings while I was gone on maternity leave and doing such an amazing job. I'm really grateful for you and for that. So thank you all
Hey,
for
Wendy.
Yay, I know.
Hey.
And I got to get the last one where she ran it. It was so good. So thank you all for that. And thank you as you bear with me through the process of running these meetings again for the first time in 4 months, as I forget small things like voting to approve the minutes. So with that being said, Jessie, do you have anything as our council liaison?
Hi, guys. Let's see, council wise. Gosh, I don't think we've had like anything super major new happen this month. We did take one more step forward towards this kind of regional collaboration that's happening between LEAP and MSU and TechSmith in terms of moving their campus on, or moving their campus onto campus, their business's campus onto campus. We had to approve a special tax district for them to make that happen. So that's happened. One step further towards that actually happening, which would be pretty cool. I have been, I don't know, I kind of periodically check in with some of the other commission chairs. I try not to step on my fellow council members' toes, but I have had a few chats with Peter DeWan from the DDA. And I've also been talking with Chuck Grigsby from the HRC about different projects that might intersect between our different bodies. The DDA, as usual, is not great about remembering that there's an arts commission whenever they want to do something arts related, but that's okay. It's like, remember I have an art degree. Every time the word art comes up, you should be like, where's Jessie? Anyway, so at least I can like keep you guys in the loop. We'll see if we can make any headway with that. So anyway, I think both of those bodies know that we're here and that we're interested in collaborating and et cetera, et cetera. And I've also chatted a few times with Megan Martin from the Arts Council about different grant opportunities that they have. Heather and I had a check-in about that. Just trying to figure out any way we can get you guys some more dollars. Dollars are not very plentiful right now, so we haven't exactly found an untapped spigot, but we keep working. Let me think. Well, the downtown gift card program is fun. I don't know if you guys know about that, but in case you don't, I'll do a little commercial for that. That's a outside vendor, so it's a third-party vendor doing gift cards, but you can do multiple businesses. So we've signed up a lot of the downtown businesses. I think last I looked, there was about 25 participating businesses, including, Crunchies and Peanut Barrel and, those kind of people, and Seams is participating as well. And there's a small amount of matching money that has been dedicated to that. So that when anybody purchases one of those cards, they get a small additional credit. So I think it's spend 25 and get 10. So it's not exactly buy one, get one, but it's not nothing. So that we did get some more matching money into that fund. So that went live again today. So if you have got some extra Christmas dollars, that might be a fun way to spend them. Adam Cummins is moving forward with some of his outdoor activation stuff. We've got some tables now in the covered alley that's just outside of the downtown Target, tiny Target as we affectionately call it. I actually had coffee sitting at one of them the other day. It was quite pleasant. My butt was cold, but it's okay. It warmed up. So more of that will be kind of coming out in pieces, trying to keep people engaged with our downtown through the winter months. And there's art collaborations on that as well. So we might get an update. I was asked, my business was asked to fill out a survey about whether I would be welcome to host some student artwork. So I know that that survey is making the rounds. I don't know where we'll put it, but I said I would host it. So I don't have wall space exactly.
Well, a lot.
Anything that I can fill you guys in that I haven't touched on?
I was just gonna say, Jesse, we're hoping for windows too, so with
Yeah.
window space, doesn't have to be a lot.
We could kick some of the plants out of the window for winter. We could probably find a place to put a
piece or two.
a wee drawing. We'll find out.
There you go.
We'll find space. Anything I can let you guys, any questions I can answer about anything I haven't touched on?
Last meeting, it was looking rough, obviously because of COVID. I didn't know if there has been any relief or any stimulus with holiday spending, that maybe people are getting a little more.
Sorry, Laura had talking behind me. Can you repeat that? We had a customer in here, but she just left.
Of course. So last meeting we were talking about, how things were bleak because of COVID and, significant concern for obvious reasons. I didn't know if we had seen any uptick with holiday spending, maybe.
Yeah, I think, well, I can tell you as a boutique retailer that we're doing okay. I don't know too much what's happening with the other retail businesses downtown. I check in with Ray from Curious Bookshop every once in a while. I think they're holding their own. The people who are really struggling are the restaurants. So it's not doing my diet any good, but I've been really making an effort to eat my lunches out lately. And there's not, even when I go in to pick up my pickup orders, it's not like there's a lot of orders waiting to be picked up. So it's pretty bleak. And with the pause orders being extended, that's put a lot of our restaurants are in a really tight spot. So hoping that those gift cards that we're selling will end up being redeemed with our local restaurants. You guys are only individuals, but if you feel like splurging on a night out, kind of consider close to home because everybody's having a really hard time. That's the sector where I really see, sorry, Kitty's sending me cryptic notes. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, that's the sector that I really see the most damage happening is in our service industries. So I think that the retailers are probably, doing as well as can be expected. We're still open. We're still allowed to have customers inside. A lot of us have tried to do as much as we can to shifting online, which has been a pretty heavy lift, especially for some of the smaller businesses, but the restaurants really can't make up the difference in takeout orders from doing a dine-in service. So that's really where we need the most focus our energy, I think. So so not great. I'm sorry.
No.
Wish it was more optimistic.
I think it's good to know. I feel like some people might be like, oh, it's the holidays, it's probably fine.
Yeah, no, I would say it's not fine. There's been a lot of people looking to buy online, and I think I've been guilty of it too. I bought a couple of gifts through Amazon, even though I knew, but actually the two I bought through Amazon and I could not have got locally. So anyway,
yeah.
But it's even, I think I see sort of I don't want to say misplaced optimism with the vaccines rolling out. I mean, obviously we need to take our victories where we can, but just looking at the timeline that it's going to take to get enough people vaccinated to make a difference in just our day-to-day operations. We're not talking, I think that I think we'll be lucky to see kids go back to school in the fall, honestly. I know that sounds pretty terrible, but that's kind of my timeline for when I'm really expecting things to get better. So I
Yeah.
think that these next 3 months probably of winter are going to be definitely the hardest for our retailers and business people. And I think this is where we're going to see a lot of people who have been kind of treading water kind of start to sink. So yeah, I guess I'm just trying to be as a shop local cheerleader as much as I possibly can, just take that extra amount of effort that it takes to pick up the phone and call a couple of local businesses before you place that Amazon order would be very much appreciated. And then, pad those tips on your pickup orders, maybe tip 25% if you can afford it, even though you're not dining in, I think that type of help is actually going to go a long ways towards getting some of these people through. So, yep, just hunker down and we'll do the best we can.
Awesome. And then people can find the gift cards.
So I will drop, or do we have a chat function enabled here on this meeting? I'll have Heather send it out afterwards, maybe as an email. It's the company that we're partnered with is called Yiftee, like gift, but with a Y, YIFTEE. You guys can't see my voice, or you can't see my lips because I'm like enunciating really carefully. So but anyway, so if you just write Yiftee East Lansing, it pops right up. So it's pretty easy to find.
I can share the press release. It was just sent out today.
Perfect. That'll be
Awesome.
great.
Yeah, I think I saw it on social media. I wrote it on.
Yeah, no, the first round of matching went really fast. We had $3,000 dedicated for the marketing budget at the Downtown Management Board, and it was used up in under 48 hours. So but then the next step is though that we need then people to get out and actually spend those gift cards, because right now it's being held in an account and it's not actually going to our businesses. So these are not ones that you want to hold on to for a long time. You want to go redeem those as quickly as possible. So if you get one for Christmas, go out and take advantage of those end of year sales and get that money out of there as quickly as possible.
Sounds perfect.
All right, well,
thank you.
I'm gonna sit and eavesdrop on you guys. I'll be here if there's anything I can chime in on. Oh, big news, I guess, is we did find 2 new arts commissioners to replace Megan and Matt. Not that you guys are replaceable, but we do have 2 new commissioners to join you. I think we talked about Barbara last time, Barbara Waters. So she has her degree is in studio art, but that was kind of in her past. She's been working in public health for most of her career and then has recently retired. So she's, arts adjacent, arts literate, and excited to get going. And then the other one is a local photographer named Ali Sarto, who just graduated from our Emerging Leaders program and is neighbors with Abby Taikaki. And so she's done a lot of kind of organizing within the professional photography community. She runs a couple of different meetups for photographers, and she's always been kind of an engaged member of her profession. So I think that she's going to bring a lot as well, and she's very excited to get started. So you will have a full complement going forward. We don't want you guys to be short-staffed. And both of them will be through the consent agenda and approved by your next meeting. So they should both be able to attend.
Awesome.
Great.
That's exciting. Thank
Yeah.
you. Commissioners, did anyone have any reports they'd like to give? Abby?
I just have a quick report from Pinkana. The deadline for their RFPs for the sculpture that's going to go in front of their building closed this week. They have received 4 applications and interest from 1 more artist. So that the deadline was on the 15th. Stephanie Friedman is currently working to compile all of that information and to propose a date for a committee meeting shortly. So not a huge response, but a response. And if they're quality submissions, that's all that matters. We'll see.
Did she say that? Were they pleased with what they got, with what what were submitted, or she didn't give you any indication?
She did not indicate one way or the other.
Okay, fascinating. I wonder.
but it's also a busy time of year, and I didn't reach out to her until like the day that everything closed. So she may have just been firing off emails, you know.
Well, hopefully they're all excellent.
But they are.
I'm sure they're. Any other commissioner reports?
One other item, I don't know if it's appropriate to bring up in commissioner report. Maybe Heather, you could help me out with this, but I did have a conversation with the graduate advisory committee for the Michigan State Arts and Cultural Management and Museum Studies program about our need for a arts plan for the city, arts and cultural plan for the city. Heather and I had briefly over email discussed whether or not that was a graduate project, perhaps, since we don't have the money in our budget to commission an actual consulting group to do that for us. And the discussion was good, but it seemed like it was maybe perhaps too big a full-scale thing to happen, but maybe but we should keep the program in mind if there are chunks, right, of things that would make for a good graduate project. And we just sort of talked about what an arts positive council East Lansing has right now, that, you know, Laura and I are on the commission currently as faculty members in that program. And so it could still be a good partnership down the road. So it's just a partnership that's out there that we should keep in the back of our minds, that we could tap as new graduate students come into the program and then are looking, if anybody's looking specifically for that kind of work, that we could work with them to try to maybe not derive a full scale plan, but to do some quality work for us.
Any other commissioner reports? All right,
Sorry, I was distracted by Karen's hand. I think that's really good news, Abby. Thank you for looking into that further. I think that we could break it into chunks, but we would have to talk about what those chunks looked like. Let's see. I have a couple updates. The biggest one that I thought Jesse might say, but I'll say it because I'm excited. The executive order for East Lansing was extended this
Oh
week.
yeah.
And which means that we are good to have a Zoom meeting in January. My supervisor, Tim McCaffrey, said in staff meeting this morning that he expected the council to extend on a 30-day basis. So we won't know until in January if we can have one in February, but most likely we'll be having Zoom meetings into the near future.
I would say it is extremely likely that would continue to be extended. I think there is also, if I'm understanding our lawyers correctly, there is movement at the state level to address the Open Meetings Act going forward, since it's pretty obvious that, so the extension right now was up through the end of December, and then it was kind of authorized into the new year as long as there was a local state of emergency on file, which is what we have with our extended 30 days. But just because we kind of are quite obviously still in the thick of it, I would be pretty surprised if the state body didn't authorize, just blanket authorize into the next calendar year. So I think that is currently being debated at the state level, and will likely have some more security in that way than the 30-day extensions. But I think you can anticipate the local state of emergency staying pretty active for at least a couple more months.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Virtual be in this room, and I've been like,
I didn't, Laura, you were cutting out quite a bit.
I might let us know that I assumed we would still be online, so I'm glad that.
Okay. Yep. For the cultural arts grant round 2, I did reach out to the Lansing Arts Council, and they've included it in their grant roundup newsletter. Apparently they've been including it nonstop since the first time I asked them to put it on the round 1 on. So I guess anybody who was checking that out would know, but it's officially on there for real, and I'll let them know when it's done. And it was announced at the Parks and Rec Commission as well this week. And I had an interview with somebody from the state news, and they wrote an article about it for students.
Heather, when is that due, actually, the second round?
February 1st.
February 1st. Okay. I think Adam Cummins is going to apply for one part of the, the parklets that we're doing. And then a teacher at the high school as well. So I know we'll have at least 2 coming in.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, Adam and I are trying to find a time to meet, but his schedule is packed, meeting back to back. I haven't been able to find a time. Yeah, I don't know how he gets anything done.
He is like Energizer Bunny. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
like, it's something else.
Yeah, I shared the article that you shared with us yesterday, Karen, with him, and he was like, "Oh, I'll go home and read it tonight." He has no time to actually read it for work, but it's relative to work. But anyway, there's that. And then the National Alliance on Mental Illness has a call for art for the display case in the Albert Avenue alley space. It's titled Winter Introspection, and they're due January 2nd. So if you're interested in that, I can share the contact information. They added me to their mailing list, so I get all of their notifications now. I think that's it. I do have some more to talk about when we get to the RFP process. I did some more research on some of that, so I have more to add to that. But other than that, the TechSmith, I did want to let you know that I reached out to planning, and they reached out to the lawyers to see if they will be required to do percent for art or not. Typically, MSU does not follow our city ordinances. They have their own. But since this seems like a little bit of an anomaly, we need to be clear if TechSmith is for us or for MSU or whose rules they follow. So we'll clear that up. And that's all I have.
Wonderful. Moving forward into business items. Heather, would you like to do the proclamations?
I can read them, but we will need a motion and a second and an approval for Laura to sign them.
Excellent. For the business ordinance 1339. There aren't.
There's none of those. We don't have any.
Okay, then yes, start the proclamation.
All right, Liam, can you share the first one? All right, so we'll do Matt first since he's not here. We can talk about him. So whereas Matt Borgey-Wheel served on the East Lansing Arts Commission for the past 6 years, and whereas Matt's vision played an essential role in a wide range of projects, including but not limited to distribution of $75,924 in cultural arts grants, worked with the Downtown Development Authority to implement the Artist Alley project, and the decorative fence panels in the Bailey parking lot, installation of lemongrass, the first sculpture purchased by the Arts Commission with the percent for art money, brought Keith Sokola Jr. to host a workshop and demonstration at Scene Metro Space, implementation of Ordinance 1339, known as the Percent for Art Ordinance, which has secured more than $250,000 in donations from private developers and contributions from the city of East Lansing to be used for public art purchases, and has resulted in over $160,000 worth of public art being installed in private developments, including installation of Mezzaluna sculpture at Lake Trust Credit Union, installation of Barnwood water rights and A Day in December paintings at the East Lansing Hannah Community Center, installation of the Gateway Project mural, installation of the sculpture in Bertram Road Solar Park, implementation of the theater in the Bailey Housing Project, installation of the reaction sculpture for the 565 East Grand River Avenue project, installation of 2 murals at the Hub development, and whereas Matt's willingness to serve has elevated the standard for the Arts Commission, and now, therefore, the Commissioners of the City of East Lansing Arts Commission hereby proclaim that Matt's dedication to the Arts Commission is hereby recognized with great gratitude, and that he will sincerely be missed by this commission, and that Matt's valuable insight, expertise, and passionate regard for the arts and cultural opportunities in East Lansing will have a lasting impact on the health and vibrancy of the community, and that the commission truly wishes Matt the very best success in his future endeavors.
I would like to say, I know Matt's not here, but I know that I will deeply miss having him on this. Always just think about everything from all angles.
I'll say that I served with Matt as a commissioner before I was elected, and he made no bones about the fact that he was there to be the anarchist, which, you know, I think every group needs a wall to push against. And I think that he, you know, he challenged us, and I think that actually made a lot of the contributions during his time on this commission stronger. He really made sure that he was a strong voice, and he's going to be very difficult to replace. So.
Sorry, we're in the view where I can't see anyone. Wonderful. Do we both have the proclamations individually, or is it?
Laura, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I'm not sure why.
Is it better now? Can you hear me better now than before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. Do we vote on the proclamations all at once or individually?
Individually.
So I guess I would need a motion.
I move to have Laura Scales sign this proclamation, thanking Matt for his service on the East Lansing Arts Commission for the past 6 years.
I second that. Wendy Sylvester Rowan.
All in favor, say aye. Your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, all opposed and all abstentions. All right, so moved. I will sign it. I will print it and mail it to you.
I'll print it on fancy paper, and then we can connect, and I'll either deliver it to you and you can sign it, or you can mail it to me. We can figure it out.
Yep. I have another proclamation.
Yes. Liam, can you make it a little bit bigger? I'm wearing my glasses, but it's hard to read. Maybe. Well, that's better. That's better. Thank you. All right, this one may be a little similar because they served very close to the same amount of time. Whereas Megan Holland served on the East Lansing Arts Commission for the past 5 years, and whereas Megan's vision played an essential role in a wide range of projects, including but not limited to distribution of $75,924 in cultural arts grants, worked with the Downtown Development Authority to implement the decorative fence panels in the Bailey parking lot, installation of lemongrass, the first sculpture purchased by the Arts Commission with the Percent for Art money, brought Keith Sokola Jr. to host a workshop and demonstration at Scene Metro Space, implementation of Ordinance 1339, known as the Percent for Art Ordinance, which has secured more than $250,000 in donations from private developers and contributions from the City of East Lansing to be used for public art purchases, and has resulted in over $160,000 worth of public art being installed in private developments, including Installation of Mezzaluna sculpture at Lake Trust Credit Union, installation of barnwood, water rights, and a day in December paintings at the East Lansing Hannah Community Center, installation of the Gateway Project mural, installation of the sculpture in Bertram Road Solar Park, implementation of the theater in the Bailey Housing Project, installation of a sculpture at the Provision Living Assisted Living Development, installation of the reaction sculpture for the 565 East Grand River Avenue project, installation of 2 murals at the Hub development, and whereas Megan's willingness to serve has elevated the standard for the Arts Commission, and now therefore the Commissioners of the City of East Lansing Arts Commission hereby proclaim that Megan's dedication to the Arts Commission is hereby recognized with great gratitude, and that she will sincerely be missed by this commission, and that Megan's valuable insight, expertise, and passionate regard for the arts and cultural opportunities in East Lansing will have a lasting impact on the health and vibrancy of the community, and that the commission truly wishes Megan the very best success in her future endeavors.
Sure. Megan, since you're here, did you want to say anything before we say next thing? Oh, you're muted.
Can't say that I was prepared. I should have been, considering I knew this was my last meeting, but I will say that I've dealt with 3 different city folks who have been the liaisons to the Arts Commission, Heather being one, Wendy, and then before that, Amy briefly. And I can't say enough about all 3 of the city staffers who have staffed this commission. I think they're all absolutely amazing in their dedication to the arts and making sure that this commission functions well. I will say that, you know, being on this commission, it was probably the most tumultuous group I've ever been involved in. And I've been on a lot of boards and commissions in my long lifetime. But, you know, it was fascinating at the same time, and it was democracy at work. And I am absolutely excited to see this. I feel like I'm part of the old guard, and I wish we had accomplished more, but I am so excited to see this new guard take over. And that's one of the reasons why I'm leaving. I think the new guard needs to move in, and you guys, all the new members are just, I'm thrilled for all of you because I see such great qualifications. And I'm also thrilled that Karen is staying on because you're going to see some great wisdom and institutional knowledge from her. And I also have to compliment Jessie because I don't know, talk about Energizer bunnies. She's one of them. So she'll also bring a lot of really great institutional knowledge.
Well, we're gonna miss you, Megan.
Thank you.
You can't escape from me. I know where you live. So
Just feel touch.
yes, I'll track you down, and I'll get your wisdom no matter what. So
I'll share what I can.
Thank you
Yeah.
for making as we came in and we're new and getting us all on board.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Megan, for your years of service to this commission and East Lansing in general, and your love for art just shines through always. So thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Oh, I'll motion that Laura can sign the proclamation for Megan.
Do I have a
Abby
second?
Tadkaki will second.
Wonderful. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Hi.
All opposed, say aye and raise your hand. All abstaining, say aye and raise your hand.
Not sure what else to do, so thank you all.
I wanted to oppose that, Megan, just so you know. I want you to stay.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you so much. It will not be the same without you. All right. Any other business items before we move to discussion items? All right. Greetings to our mural final edits. There is a PDF, and hopefully everyone's had a chance to at least take a quick look at it.
While Liam is sharing his screen with us, I just want to kind of run down the point we're at with the greetings mural. We have the opportunity, it's item 6.1. We have the opportunity to make any last changes right now. If there's something later on that we're like, oh my gosh, this needs to be moved 2 inches to the left, then that's something they can do. But if it's something like we change the name, the spelling of our city or whatever, then that's something we're gonna have to pay them by the hour to update. So say anything that you want or forever hold your peace, basically, or be willing to pay for it.
Can I change the way we spell?
I don't think so.
Do we have that power?
Please. It's allowed.
Awesome.
Oh, we only do that for Abbott Road, right?
Yes.
Is that when they had changed Abbott to how it really is spelled?
Mm-hmm. Yep. 1 T, 2 T's. I don't even know. So if you want to scroll to the, I think it's page 15 is what I put on there. Scrolling. Oh, there. Yep, that page. What was that? Oh, not 15, 19. So that's our detailed view of the new greetings mural. And obviously he has shared, Victor shared that these are the actual images that he's not copying and pasting, but he's putting behind these letters. So when he actually paints them, they will be more artistically rendered. But right now they're more photo oriented.
I think this thing looks awesome. I think all of the edits were well thought out, and I think it really looks great. So I can hold my peace now. Now that the squirrel has moved 2 inches to the right.
Yeah, moving the squirrel was a power move, I'll say.
It's a great flex, Austin.
Amazing. Any other comments, thoughts? That speak now. Hold your peace. Austin?
Paint that mural.
That mural. And we don't have to vote on it, do we? We just get to say paint that mural. Wonderful. Anything else about the greetings mural? All right. Mural RFP process.
Yeah. So if we could share that, that's the next 6. Yep. Okay. Well, just the memo real quick first. Yep, there you go. So I think in October, commissioners were approached with a proposal for a mural on the east-facing wall of the Albert Avenue parking ramp. It would be above the Lauren Aston mural, and you'd be able to see it over the roof of Pinball Pete's and the Riv. And commissioners asked for more information on what a process would look like to give more artists the opportunity to have that space. When Wendy Longpre and I were talking about it, she said that at one point the commission was talking about multiple smaller murals throughout the downtown or throughout East Lansing by underrepresented artists also. So she wanted me to make sure that I mentioned that because it's your RFP process. We can put anything in the request for proposals that we want. It doesn't just have to be on that wall in that space. It can be where we want it to be. And then I would do the research beyond that to know what other qualifications have to be for where you want them, where you want the murals. But the other thing that you can also consider is a request for qualifications. So instead of a request for proposals where the artists bring to you a kind of nearly finished design idea, the request for qualifications would be asking artists to share why they would be qualified to do that. And then we would pay them $500 or so, like 3 different artists, $500 or so that to actually develop a design for us. And then we would get to choose the design from that. So there's several ways that we can go about this. There's lots of opportunities for art in East Lansing. So don't get overwhelmed with the opportunities. We can focus on one, we can focus on whichever one you want. The other thing to consider is when Jessie and I were talking about funding opportunities, she mentioned the LEAP grant. And that is something that's open to us. It actually, the process just opened up yesterday. They don't have the final timeline for the public art for communities grant program yet, but the general timeline for the whole LEAP grant process is that if you receive the grant, you'll be notified by May, and your mural has to be installed by October. And they have 2 $10,000 grants to give out. So it's going to be something that is highly competitive. It doesn't mean we don't have a chance. It just means that we have to know going in that it's a competitive process, and we may or may not get that $10,000. And oh, the other thing I should have mentioned. So in my report at the beginning, I included our budget end of year, and it shows we had the audit done. It shows that we are overspending this fiscal year by $18,000 roughly. However, we have had quite a savings bank from the last few years with developers' contributions. So we actually have a positive balance of $169,000 to spend. So for the RFP or RFQ process, you can select the budget that you want to spend as well. But there's quite a few things that we need to talk about before I can write the RFP or RFQ too. So that's the general presentation for you. Definitely questions, discussion.
Laura, do you mind if I jump in with a little history?
A great history.
Okay. Sure. So the RFQ process, as opposed to the RFP process, I think that actually might have originated with me. I don't remember exactly how the whole discussion went, but it was kind of born out of the experience of doing an RFP for the lemongrass sculpture. So we wrote a very thoughtful, our request for proposals. Actually, Wendy Longpree put a lot of work into that. And there was a lot of stuff in there about kind of the history of East Lansing and ties to the university, and the fact that that park hosts the farmers market and is kind of a community gathering space, and a lot of things to kind of inform that sculpture. And we did get some very thoughtful requests back. And obviously we love the sculpture that we've chosen, but we got a lot of proposals that were essentially kind of a portfolio from the artists that were not really a response to the RFP. And it kind of came out in the discussion of that it was in a lot of ways sort of counter to the mission of the Arts Commission in terms of the fact, or in terms of the part of our mission that goes towards honoring the work of artists as opposed to just arts. And that, there's a lot of work involved with developing a thoughtful response to a proposal. And essentially we were asking people to kind of create a work on speculation because they had not actually received the contract to do it yet. And so there was really no guarantee that they would actually receive any compensation for that. And you could kind of tell that some artists had been through that process before. And so what they gave us was really kind of a like, here, I do art, it's great. If you pick me, I'll do something good for you, right? And so I went through a couple of different national arts advocacy groups and looked at some best practices policies. And what came out of that was that an RFQ process might be a slightly fairer process in terms of really, honoring the work that our artists are putting in, and that it could result in a higher caliber of response for us. So essentially what you would do is a two-round ask where you would first solicit essentially a portfolio, kind of a biography and a portfolio of artists to show you their body of work. And that then we would pick, this body, and also the art selection panel might be kind of involved with that. We would pick several, maybe one artist is definitely the best, maybe several artists are good. And then you do a second round where there's a small compensation, kind of honoring the fact that they are actually now producing work that has value, and that they would then submit something that was a much more thoughtful response to our RFP. And that part of us having paid them for that work would be that we would kind of keep the right to that artwork for a certain period of time. So we might not select that mural for this location in this round, but if we suddenly had another wall like 2 years later, and we said, hey, we actually really want to put that mural out from 2 years ago, if it was within the time of the contract, that we would still have the right to that artwork. Not indefinitely, because that didn't seem fair either, but that we would kind of preserve some amount of time in exchange for the money that we had given the artist to develop that. So we've never done one that way. It was sort of proposed that if we go forward in the future, that might result in a higher caliber of work. So if you guys decided to follow that process, this would be the first time that we've done it, and would kind of be an experimental, first time out in the RFQ process. But the experience of the one that we did go through for Lemongrass kind of let us know that maybe there was some flaws in the way that we had been doing it. So that was something that was important to me, and it was important to some of the other commissioners, but I don't know that we ever actually voted on it in terms of making it our official process. So just anyway, historical background.
Questions for Jesse or?
I was just going to say thank you, Jesse, because that was going to be my question, was like, what have you learned? What did you learn from the lemongrass process that we could carry forward and improve on, or was it great? And so that answered all my questions, really.
Well, anyone else? Sorry, we're in that split screen, so I can't see you if you're raising your hand. Was the hope that we would vote on this today, or is it just to continue conversation?
It's up to you. I wanted to make sure that you had the information you asked for, and then see if there's more information I need to get, if you want to drop it, if we want to, I don't know. I don't know what the next step is, because it's up to you.
2 new commissioners coming on, and ending the tenure for 2 of our members, that maybe we vote on it next meeting.
Laura, I'm having so much trouble hearing you again. I'm catching like every other word.
I can put on my headphones too. Let me try just talking really loudly. Since we have 2 new
That works.
That's good.
Since we have 2 new commissioners coming in, do we think that do we want to wait and let them vote on the natural progression into the year? Do we want to vote on it now? Will they even have voting privileges when they come?
They will have voting privileges. Heather, what's the timeline for that LEAP grant? Is there a deadline for that application process?
The full timeline and guidelines for the specific grant we qualify for, the Public Art for Communities grant program, is not published yet. I checked, unless they've published it since 2 o'clock, but I checked it too, and it wasn't there. But the general timeline for the whole LEAP grant was that people who received the grant would be notified in May, and it had to be installed by October. So I'm guessing that it would be due in sometime February, maybe.
Because that would, I mean, that would be a reason to move a little bit more quickly on it. I did want to, I don't know, I feel like I try to not be too pushy to you guys, but I feel like I'm being pushy tonight. I just wanted to kind of put another sort of historical note out there that if it seemed like a couple of meetings ago, there might have been an interest in having a slightly more socially conscious message in this mural. And I just wanted to kind of point out that we, or maybe just me, you guys might not, but I certainly get irritated when the DDA takes off on an art bent without talking to us. And that if we did want to pursue some sort of human rights or social message in that mural, that it would probably be appropriate to at least let the Human Relations Commission know, or the Human Rights Commission, sorry, they just got a new name, know that we were planning something, and offer them the opportunity to kind of let us know what their goals are for their work that they're doing in that area, so that we could complement it. Just, you know, as the courtesy that has not been extended to us from the DDA, we might want to be a shining example in that way.
I like that idea, especially since, as will be brought up later, we said we wanted to do more collaboration, right?
Yeah, I think the more
commission goal.
communication we have, the better. Absolutely, with the more, you know, left hand knowing what the right hand's doing. Heather, who applies for that grant? Do you apply for that grant?
I would apply for it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking might make sense for me, but not necessarily for everyone, and it's up to you guys, is if we decide if we want to do the RFP or RFQ process tonight, and then I can get started. I'm taking a week and a half off over the holidays, but then I can get started on writing it, and I can share what I've written with you in January, and then you can make any final edits, whatever, and we can release it after that meeting. And if I'm right that the LEAP grants would be due in February, then I can write that at that time too. So
I think that's a great idea. I think, you know, there's inertia, right? So I think us getting the ball rolling is not a bad idea, right? It may take months in order to, you know, get the word out, get artists to submit things, etc. And if we're on a timeline with this grant, I think laying the groundwork now is a good idea.
Wonderful. We have a strong opinion for. Does anyone have a strong opinion against? Do we feel like we can move forward? So,
It's Karen. I feel like we should move forward. We talked about this a long time ago, and I think the idea of narrowing the artists down and then paying them for a more specific application it makes a lot of sense.
cool. All right. Do I have a motion? Anyone want to move to approve this? Do we need to approve? We do
Yeah,
need-
how am I wording that? I move to approve to begin the RFQ process and for Heather to begin the grant. Is that
Awesome.
sufficient?
Who's second?
Austin Pabian seconds.
Awesome. Thank you. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All abstaining, say aye. Okay. So moved. Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts about this before we move on? Yes,
I have
Heather.
one question. Do you think that you want me to stick with the one wall, or do you want me to pick a different location? I can just do fake the budget until we decide maybe next month on that, but the location will help me write it a little bit better.
I think that wall is screaming, put a mural on me. So I don't want to rule out other locations in addition to, but that in my head is first and foremost.
Okay.
I
You
agree.
guys, what other locations? I mean, we looked for 5 years for the for, for our other mural locations. So I don't know. We don't have screaming walls in East Lansing.
Okay.
That'd be cool if we did have screaming walls in East Lansing.
Right, right.
It would
Wait, but
be
wait,
like,
on that note, the fellow who owns Campbell's told Adam the other day, Adam Cummins, that he wants a mural. It actually, do you know where he has the 2 wooden picnic tables out the back of Campbell's Market Basket? Right there, that white wall. He wants a mural on that. So, screaming wall. There we go.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice spot.
It is, right? And to sit out there after you get a little something something from Campbell's, that's a nice spot, you know, to plunk.
More screaming walls. Excellent. All right, let's move into the year-end review. So we pull this up on our screen. Heather, would you like to run us?
My part on this one is just pretty quick. Laura led the last discussion when we made these decisions, when you made those decisions. But in February, we talked about the 3 hills that we would die on for this commission. And we came up with 5. It was important to the commissioners that the commission focus on diversity, visibility, art experiences, collaboration, and promotion. And Laura and I thought that it might be a good time to reflect on that and see what we wanted to do the same change, add moving forward.
Yes, I'll step into it. I think because we already know, and we have 2 new commissioners coming aboard, then maybe we can quickly reflect and then put this at the top of in the agenda for the next meeting in January when they're present, if that sounds good, unless anyone is very, very much wanting to put in new goals today. I feel as though we've done a lot of work with diversity, or trying to be more inclusive and diverse in our art, as well as in our artists. And I think a lot of, from my point of view, a lot of the conversations have revolved around that. And then obviously the city had a larger conversation about equity and inclusion, and that has come to help and benefit our council as well. Does anyone have thoughts, reflections?
I feel like the pandemic and a lot of our canceled meetings got in the way of real progress towards a lot of these this year. But one thing I would like us to look at for next year that came up in the last meeting with the cultural grants is the fact that we added language about diversity, equity, and inclusion in the application, but not in the check sheet, the grading, the scoring system that we use as commissioners. So I feel like that's something we need to look at for next year. And then also something that keeps sticking in my brain from the last meeting and the process of giving out the arts and cultural grants is that the application says that we will look more favorably on grants that only request up to 15% of a budget. But it doesn't say it can only be, but then we voted and made that decision that we would only grant up to 15%. And since then I've just been thinking more about conversations we've had in the past. I think Megan brought it up about how that could be limiting. Especially because I just met someone who runs an organization. She lives in East Lansing and runs an organization for Latina girls, youth in the area. And she's super small, but the work she's doing aligns so beautifully with what we have. But, she doesn't have huge projects. she has tiny ones. Our grants could really, I feel, help out their program. But I feel like language like that around budgeting and needing all sorts of things, that could be limiting and exclusionary. So I feel like, and maybe it's just because, maybe this is only coming up because we just had this meeting, but I think there's a lot of things we might be able to do in that grant making process to provide more equity and inclusive practices if we really mean that. And arts experiences went right out the window this year. So although Heather did an amazing job moving the art festival online.
Yes. Other thoughts, comments?
So Abby, tagging on to what you were just saying, one of the things that we can do with the percent, not to exceed 15%, there could be language that, 15%, or we could have something not to exceed a finite dollar amount of a grant. So a small grant that all they needed was $500, they could ask for the $500 instead of 15% of 500. And do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, although I guess I just don't understand why that cap or that language is there at all. Like, isn't it up, like, couldn't an artist ask for whatever they want and it's at our discretion to say, okay, here's how we're going to split up this money we have?
Where did that come from in the first place? What is the advantage to keeping that in there? What was the thought process when it was written? Does anybody know?
Anyone here? Yeah.
I feel like that's been part of it since I served, but I think one of the problems was that we were getting very large requests from organizations that we felt were maybe able to cover more of the cost. And because, when I first started on the commission, our whole cultural arts budget was like under $10,000, or maybe it was exactly $10,000. And it just, and we would get these requests from the Jazz Festival, and no offense, Heather, from the Arts Festival. And, some of them we would get 2 or 3 $2,500 requests from big city festivals that have huge budgets. And it would basically be gone. So we would have to, obviously we kind of nickel and dime the big ones and sort of carve out a place in the budget for the littler ones. But I think it was kind of a sense of like telling people, hey, don't rely on us for your whole budget because we just don't have the money. But I think you're right. If you say 15% of a budget and the whole project is only $2,000, it's like the amount that we would be able to give them as 15% is almost negligible because it's such a tiny amount of money. And yes, it does spread it around and it leaves us more left over to give to other people, which is a benefit. But it limits the like $300, $400 grants that we can give to people that have really just a very tiny project and maybe want 100% of it funded, and that it is totally within our ability to do that. So I think that's a point well taken, Abby.
Yeah, and that's my memory too, is that I think we wanted groups to show that they could get funding from other sources as well, that they weren't just depending on us. For these smaller grants, I wonder if it's worth reviving. This is the wrong title for it, but it's what we always called it, the Crack Art Program. It was meant to, like if there's a crack in the sidewalk, and if you could take it and do something really creative with that crack, it maybe is only a $300 grant. But we tried it, and for some reason, people just weren't applying for it. That whole movement where there is a pipe in the back of a building, and then this artist does something amazing with it and incorporating it into a cool little mural. That's what we were trying to encourage, and it just never took off. But it sounds like, Abby, that may fall into that kind of a category. Heather, do you have any memory of that program?
The Crack Art program, it still exists. I think the money is spent out of the Public Art Fund, but it's nothing that's advertised. And I there may be some type of application guidelines somewhere, but I have not seen them since I took over. But Wendy and I have different organizational systems too, so it's probably there. I just haven't seen it yet. But my memory about the 15% is the same, that it was to encourage people not to rely on us for the same projects every year, and to apply to other grants and find other donors. So
I wonder if we made like a subset, instead of calling it crack art, instead of having it be something completely different that maybe doesn't get as much play, we have it fall under the cultural arts grants, but you know, it's a subset under the umbrella, you know, for smaller.
Can I share an experience from a previous commission that I served on? Before I was elected to East Lansing, I served as the vice chair for the Ingham County Parks and Recreation Commission. And we had a very large pool of grant money that we gave out every year. I mean, large, 200 million from the, which like, wouldn't that be nice? But from the Trails and Parks millage. But one of the problems that we saw after a couple of rounds of those grants is that the larger communities, Meridian Township, Lansing, East Lansing, had projects that were of a scope that could consume a huge amount of that budget. Like you could drop $200 million into repairing the river trail basically every year for the rest of your life and it would be gone. So we created a separate scoring criteria for smaller communities that had smaller projects. And so we had a separate criteria for projects that were under $50,000. And so that let us kind of encourage outlying communities that really, you know, that pay into the millage, obviously at a much smaller rate than the urban communities do. But that let them do things like adopt a master plan, which, you know, requires some planning and some consultation fees, but then that opened up the possibility of them applying for DNR grants because one of the requirements is having a plan. And it just kind of, you know, so Aurelius Township spent $3,500 one year to develop their master plan. And then the next year they came back and applied for a DNR grant. So it kind of helped to kind of apples to apples in a way. So, you know, like Leslie Township's placemaking signs were not really playing very well against, you know, Lansing's $500,000 bridge repair. So maybe you could, if you wanted to use the same program, but encourage small projects, you could kind of create a scoring criteria within your scoring criteria that was for projects under a certain budget that had, you know, so maybe projects over certain amount, you know, there's kind of a limiting language put in there, but projects under a certain amount, you know, it's okay to go up to 100% of your budget.
I like that idea. It's something to look at. I think this also might be a really great conversation for year. Just in general, like as a tack on to.
Yeah, and it sounds like we've not done well at all meeting our goal of promoting ourselves or promoting the opportunities available from the Arts Commission. So something else to work on. Although also pandemic, so.
Pandemic. We could do better, but yeah, I'm gonna squeal pandemic on that one a little. Okay. Do we feel like we want to take this into the new year? Do we want to do it tonight? How are we feeling? Wrap it up? Or was that the let's do it?
No, that was, sorry, let's take it into the new year.
I think so too. That'll be
2021 sounds nice.
2021 does sound nice. And our new, I'm sorry, I forgot to yell. And our new commissioners sound nice too. So I think it'll be a good way to introduce them. And I'm grateful that we'll have a little bit of memory staying with us on that as we go forward. Anything else for end of the year wrap up? As we all say goodbye to 2020 in our own way. Exactly. All right. In terms of a recap, we pretty much went through everything. I will sign those proclamations for the wonderful support of the commissioners who are leaving us. We're moving ahead with the Greetings Tour mural, and I think that if that's what we close the year out with, excellent. Excellent. It's done, painted. Let's go. Anyone else have anything else for this meeting?
I second what you're saying, Laura. At my very last meeting on the Arts Commission, it's just amazing that this Greetings Tour mural is finally wrapping up, because this has
Yeah.
gone on forever. It's
Yeah,
great.
like 2 years, right?
Oh,
like 2
at
years, I
least.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. So this
Yeah.
is fantastic. It's too bad Tedda's not here to, to celebrate with us, because she was the one who initially pushed it.
When will it be painted? Do we know that?
Probably 5 years from now.
Okay, perfect.
The plan is spring. I had suggested to the artists May, but they already have a May mural on their agenda. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated. And I think that we'll get more of a timeline when I share with him that this is final. So.
Well,
Right.
yes. Let us close out with the greetings from East Lansing.
Yes.
All that, the beautiful win that it is. Amazing. Well, thank you, everyone. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
It's the move. Holland moves.
There we go. I second. Wendy Sylvester Owen.
Amazing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstentions? Thank you all so much. Have a healthy, happy end of your 2020, and we'll see you in 2021.
Yes,
Happy
rest good.
holidays.
Thanks, everybody. Have a
Enjoy
nice
Bye, y'all.
Thank you,
weekend.
Megan. Thanks, Heather.